I'm Chris Berman. Got a lot of games to cover. Let's get at it. In our first game this week, we had the Colts come away with a 7-point win. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. This guy will be playing his football elsewhere, though perhaps not for as much as he would have liked. 3 years, $1.5 million. This guy is on the move as he gets a contract for what can only be referred to as crazy money. 3 years, $1.7 million.
In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Rams win their 5th game of the season. The Panthers won this contest and will now move to second place in the NFC South. Will Allen had a stellar game, but all said and done, his performance wasn't enough to lift his team to a victory. Chiefs, Raiders. Performance. Sean Barber was in the right place at the right time, as his interception was a possible momentum shifter. The Raiders go on to win this by the final score of 14-10. Corey Bradford pulled down 100-plus receiving yards and helped his Texans beat the Jets. Down in the fun and sun of Jacksonville, we had the Jaguars lose by 6 points. Up in Chicago, we had the Bears put on a show and come out on top by 20. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Boomer, thanks. In front of you, we've got the AFC Infirmary Report. And as you can see, they were hit hard this week. Roosevelt Colvin is probably the one that most leaps out at you. A broken elbow is the culprit. He's out for the rest of the regular season. There's a chance, however, they'll get him back for the playoffs. In front of you, we've got the NFC list. And as you can see, they could form their own mash unit. Marcus Robinson might be the biggest loss on this list. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for the rest of the season. On to the serious news of the week. Donovan McNabb was put on injured reserve after the ballgame, so now they'll have to make do without their team leader for the rest of the year. Now the big story of the day. Randy Moss is going to find himself on the shelf, and that will be a major blow to his team. So that'll do it for now. Boomer, back to you.
Bills, Dolphins. Takeo Spikes would come up with the big play to kill a drive as he was able to step in front of a wayward pass for an INT. The Dolphins win this one by the final score of 10-6. The Patriots defense held their opponents to under 50 rushing yards in their win at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. The Eagles won at home, but will take to the road next week to meet the Redskins. The Seahawks won this contest, but will stay at the first place in the NFC West. Falcons, Buccaneers. Aaron Beasley would come up with the big play to kill a drive as he was able to step in front of a wayward pass for an INT. The Buccaneers win this one by the final score of 7-3. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Broncos pick up their 8th win of the year. Matt Smokey Stover stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. And in our final game, we had the Lions come away victorious.
All right, Chris, thanks. With the playoffs a little more than a month away, things are starting to get real interesting when it comes to seeding and the races for the division crowns. Let's start things off by taking a look at the AFC. Meanwhile, let's take a look at how things stand over in the NFC. So there you have it. Still plenty of intrigue left in this NFL season, as the homestretch madness is only just beginning. And that'll do it from here. Chris, let's send it back over to you.
So that'll just about do it. But before we go, I'm going to toss out a few game balls to my prime-time players. Each and every one of these men had a week to remember. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.